everyone.
Good morning.
Your worship was on point. I got saved in the Baptist church. Okay. So as your pastor just spoke about Newburgh, which is right around the corner, we have roughly 10% of our population is ESL. And I was thinking about what I would share with you guys, because I don't have a lot of time, but I thought I'd share a couple of stories, because you know about the need. The kids who come to us come from various backgrounds, and a lot of them are war-torn, and they've got PTSD, they have a little depression sometimes because they have to leave their home, and they come from communal cultures. And communal culture is where your community is your family. So I've had students come to me, like my Rwandan students, like, this works. They charge to babysit. Like, that's so wrong. In my country, we babysit our neighbors' kids. We don't charge them. They're our neighbors. And she's like, what's wrong with you guys? You know, like, why do you charge your neighbors? And so they come from a different mindset. So coming here is like a paradigm shift for them. And Americans, we kind of are a little isolated. We stay in our little boxes and we wave at our neighbors, maybe, you know, sometimes. But these people are coming from very, very communal cultures where they may not have a lot of money, but the whole community is their family. So a lot of the volunteers who come and help us sometimes cannot relate to the students very well. And I try to make it a part of what I do to help the volunteers understand that, you know, the kids, when they get here, they get cell phones, they get television, they get all the food they want, and they're in a little apartment, and they're isolated. And so their parents are a lot of times working at factories, and their parents don't speak English. And the kids are at home all day on the cell phone, or in front of the television. And they come to school, and they say, Miss Williams, I'm depressed. I don't have anybody. I don't have any friends. I don't know anyone. My parents work all the time. And so it's a lot deeper than just, you know, teaching them, helping how to read and write. As soon as you come in and volunteer, they like cling to you. Like immediately, like you're their family, you're their friend, you're a part of their community. And vast majority of our population of students are from Africa. Right now we have a large Congolese and Rwandan and Senegal. But we have different places at different times. But, you know, anyone who comes to volunteer, the students immediately, like, you can't get rid of them. They want to know, they want to hear about you. They're like pilgrims, and they come here. And Kentucky Refugee Ministries, Catholic Charities, they resettle the students and their families. They help them get an apartment, get a job, but they don't help them make friends. So if you come to volunteer at Newburgh, we also have a conversation club that we do on Saturday at the Refuge, which is about maybe, I don't know, maybe 10 minutes from here. I'll say explain. We have after school program on Monday and Wednesday. Mr. Al, we call him Mr. Alex. He is so faithful. The kids love him. And then a lot of times the kids, you know, they're Christian in title, but building relationships with the volunteers, a lot of times the volunteers are able to share their faith with the kids, and the kids see Jesus through the volunteers, and they actually dedicate their hearts to Jesus. Even though their family may go to church, they may not have a personal relationship with the Lord. And so I've seen some of the volunteers be able to witness to some of the students as they inquire about what motivates you to come and help us. You're not getting paid like Miss Williams. It's her job. You just come so faithfully. And it's just like, well, you know, this is what I believe. And so over time, you build those relationships, and God opens doors into these kids' hearts. So I encourage you guys to come out and volunteer. I know I recognize some of your faces. And some of you have come, and we really appreciate it. The kids come here, they don't know any English, they are behind. There have been times where I will drive into their neighborhoods, and they're just walking around in the streets. And I'm like, what are you guys doing? Where are you going? I'm always watching, making sure they're making the right connections. And sometimes they tell me that the gang members want them to come and hang out with them. And I'm like, oh, no, you don't. You know, you're not going that way. So, Mr. Alex, we used to have another group of people that were, you know, they moved, but they would go out into the community and play soccer with the kids. And so, Mr. Alex would go out there and play soccer with these kids. And they're like, I don't want to join a gang, you can go play soccer. I mean, just something simple like that. So, and there have been a lot, and I keep saying Mr. Alex, but he usually sees the need, and he just kind of jumps in there. I don't even know what else he does. I mean, he's always with these kids, and they really appreciate it. And the volunteers who've come, you just fall in love with these kids. They're amazing. You teach them how to read, you teach them how to write to help them get caught up. Because as we know, if a kid can't read by the time they graduate from high school, the only jobs that are going to be available for that child are in a factory or criminal justice. I mean, not criminal justice, but the criminal prison or whatever. Like they turn into other things. And so for me as a teacher, it's very important for me to tell them about college and tell them about scholarships and about grants. And they're like, what? I can get a grant and go to college for free? They don't know any of that. They don't have anyone coming to them telling them about anything. And my mom, she was the first in her family to go to college. And I remember, my grandparents didn't have the opportunity to go to college. And I remember a lady took my mother under her wing and taught her that you don't have to pay, sweetheart. There's money just sitting out there that you have to just apply for. And my mom was like, really? And she was the first person in her family to receive an education. And so when I'm giving back to these kids, I feel like I'm kind of doing what this lady did for my mom. And it warms my heart. I've had kids, just tell me beautiful testimonies. Muslim kids tell me that Christians hate us and horrible things, and then they meet us for real. And they're like, well, the Christians aren't bad. I was told all this stuff, the Christians are cool. And just seeing is believing. And I'm going to tell one story about a student named Umay, and then I'm going to give the mic back to the pastor. I'm getting comfortable. Okay. So Umay is Rohingya, and she came from Burma. And they were being ethnically cleansed in Burma. So they took refuge, they ran, and they were literally burning and blowing up their villages. They were simple people that lived in villages. And Umay came and sat in my classroom last year. She's a newcomer. And she just moved to the U.S. She was so excited about getting an education. Because in Burma, if you are Rohingya, you can go to school, but they won't teach you in your native language. They know what language you speak, but they don't want you there. So the teacher would teach around her and make sure that she taught in a dialect that this little girl couldn't understand. But she said, I came to school every day anyway, because I had a right to be there. And I said, good for you. And so she sat in my class, she sat on the front row. And one day, Umay had her hand up, and I always finish what I'm saying before I call my students. So she had her hand up for a while, and I was kind of doing this like 1 minute. She may not have understood that I mean, just give me a minute. And all of a sudden, tears start streaming down her face. And I'm like, oh, something's wrong. And so I had my bilingual instructor take over, and I pulled her out of class, and I said, why are you crying? She said, because you were ignoring me. And I said, no, sweetie, I just didn't call on you because I wanted to finish what I was saying first. And she said, it just brought back memories of me just being ignored. And I told her, I would never ignore you. But I took a personal interest in her because I'd never had a Rohingya student before. And so I got to know Umay, and Umay said, I said, who's killing all the Rohingya people? She said, the Christians. Now, I knew better. I knew the story of the Rohingya, and I knew it wasn't the Christians who were killing them. But somebody told her that, and she believed it. And I said, so what's going on? She said, they don't want us there. We can't go back to, I forget. It's like Burma and a couple other places. But they were originally from this other place, and they had to leave. Then they came to Burma, and then Burma didn't want them anymore. So they were kind of caught between Bangladesh. So Bangladesh didn't want them, Burma didn't want them. They were Rohingya, so they were their own ethnic group. So they came here, and I told her, I said, I want to work with you. I want to, connect you with some people to help you get caught up on your English, because her education was the most important thing for her. So, of course, I connected her with the volunteers. Do you remember mine from last year? I connected her with the volunteers. And over time, she started coming to my church on Saturdays to do the conversation club. She was the devout Muslim, okay? But through conversations, we started talking about Abraham, because, Abraham, Isaac, they all agreed on that. So I said, well, you guys believe in Abraham? She's like, yeah. So we started this conversation. And one day I saw her in my church, sitting on a pew, reading the Bible. And I thought, oh my gosh, it was just, for me, that's huge. Because, they are devout Muslim, and her parents would die if they knew this child picked up a Bible. But just seeing her change, her ideas about Christians, and she eventually moved to Milwaukee so that they could be around other Rohingya families. But she still calls me to this day, and she's like, you don't know how much that means to me, that you guys were like my family. And these were Christians. Do you know what I mean? So this is her pilgrim story. This is her first generation American. She's going to be able to tell her generations to come about these Christians and how they opened their arms and how they spent time with her and how they loved her and how she'll never forget us, because that was her first American experience. And even though she might believe that the Christians in her country tried to kill them, she knows that the Christians here in the U.S. will embrace and love her. So I hope that I encourage all of you, if you have time, swing on over to Newburgh Middle.